Hey everybody, this is Michael with Asymmetrical Preparedness. So, Survival Lilly says Europe is done. My question is the United States soon to follow? Good question. Alright, so Survival Lilly, huge channel, over 1 million subscribers. She's in Austria, and they're facing a lot of problems there. Natural gas, heating, throughout the winter. People are already starting to, she's talking about the forests there are all privately owned, and people are stealing wood for firewood like you see behind me. A lot going on. It's going to be really tough this winter for Europe. So my question is, will this trickle down to us? How will it affect us? Because everything's pretty much, a lot of things are global. Not governments, thank God, but a lot of trade is global. And what starts somewhere else trickles down to other places. So she was talking about, alternative sources, like you see behind me, firewood, wood stoves, and people freaking out, panicking about those kind of things. Yeah, it's real, people. It's real, imminent concern for a lot of people in Europe. But how's that going to affect us this winter? And are we going to see those kind of shortages also? If you have a wood stove and firewood, then you probably be a lot better off than other people. But then there's all the other things that come along, washers, dryers, freezers, refrigerators, all those kind of things. And our internet, gotta have our internet. Oh man, that's funny. But no, seriously, it's a real concern. And there's a lot on the horizon for this winter. Are we even going to have a grid, or is the grid going to go down? Same within Europe. If their grid is taxed and they don't have the support to keep the grid up, and natural gas and other sources to heat homes, what are they going to do? I've heard from some, I forget what source it was, but that, we're not even really in winter yet, and people are already burning trash in some locations in Europe just to stay warm. Now, is that going to come here to us? I don't necessarily think it would become to that level, because we have a lot more, we have forests. Europe has been settled for a lot longer than the Americas have. So we are not as urbanized, and we haven't gone through and had all the opportunity and time to cut down all of our trees and destroy our forests like they have there. And a lot of forests are either state-owned and or nationally owned. And you can get permits to go in and cut down trees. So, and not that people may still go out there and steal wood, yes, but only if they have a way to use it. If you don't have a wood stove, then there's no point having firewood, really. So think about alternate sources of heat so that we can avoid a lot of the pitfalls that Europe is facing, and prepare ourselves for this winter. I don't think the grid will be up this winter. I don't know if it's going to be down all winter or if it's going to be down for a portion of the winter. I think there's a lot of stuff that's leading up to an overtaxed critical infrastructure system that we have not done the proper maintenance on. We have not properly upgraded it. We have not properly taken care of it. So it is basically antiquated. I don't know if it's going to keep up with the demand, especially if it's a really cold winter, like I fear it's going to be. So, I've talked about this before. Blankets, sealing off areas of a room, sequestering yourself in one room to stay warm, especially to sleep. If you have propane stove, then fine. Your electric starter won't work, but you can still start it with a lighter or a match, whatever. You can even use a ferro rod if you want. Doesn't matter. Have a way to light your propane and or natural gas stove without power. Now, without power, will you still have natural gas? Well, I am not an expert in the field. In the United States, I think you still would, at least for a period of time. Propane, on the other hand, you would, because it's just a valve. I have a big, huge tank. It's just a valve that opens up and it flows into the house, and I light my stove with a lighter, and bam, there you go. Also, alternate sources of power, maybe even. Look into solar generators or solar panels or wind turbines or other things like that. Propane heaters inside aren't necessarily the best thing to use because of the fumes. You got to be careful about that. You don't want to kill yourself in your sleep trying to stay warm by using the improper materials. She talked about a lot of things, a lot of concerns over there, and I have a feeling that yes, we will feel it here. I'm not sure to what level, but I know that there's going to be a lot of stuff going on. And before I go any further and get into some other stuff, if you could please subscribe, hit that thumbs up, share the videos, comment below, and join us over on Patreon. It's $1 a month. Lots of good exclusive content there. Links in the description below. So yeah, and what else is there on the horizon? Well, as you see behind me, I'm sitting in my new woodshed because it's pouring down rain outside because I live in the Pacific Northwest and it's that time of year again. I'm not quite tired of it yet, but yeah, that'll be soon. Much needed rain is good for a lot of things though. There's been droughts. There's been a lot of other things going on around us. We need the rain, but we also need alternate sources of heating ourselves, keeping ourselves warm, cooking, etc. Little camp stoves, Coleman camp stoves, those kind of things you can use outside. Also barbecues, if it's propane, great. If you run out of propane though, one thing you can do is you can just get some sticks, twigs, branches, coal, briquettes, other things like that. Take out the element, meaning the part that feeds the propane into the stove, into the grill, and just remove that part so you don't damage it, and then just put a bunch of stuff in there, like firewood. Probably not going to fit stuff like this. Some of it, maybe pieces like, that and that maybe, but not the bigger ones, obviously. But, so even if you don't have a wood stove, you may want to think about having some firewood on hand for purposes like that. Those old, what are they, Kabachi, God, I forget the grills. The grills that are just designed to work off of like briquettes. The round, simple ones that are super cheap at the store. And now might be the time to get them because nobody's really buying grills right now because summer's over. The barbecue season is over. But you might be able to get them on sale and or, just pick them up because nobody else is fighting over those because they don't get it. They're not proactive like we are. They don't think ahead like we do as preppers. So to properly prepare ourselves, think about getting something like that that's inexpensive. That'll enable you to cook outside. Also, think about things like tarps, tents, hammocks, shelters for living outdoors. And your survivability if for some reason, maybe the chaos surrounding the elections or whatever it may be, maybe you're forced out of your house for some reason and you got to kind of like bug out, either bug out fully, go somewhere totally different, or just, not that far from your property or something like that. Go out into the woods and live. Have those capabilities. Also, make sure that you do proper vehicle maintenance. Make sure your batteries are in proper working order, your antifreeze, stuff like that. So that if you need to, you can go out in your vehicle, store extra fuel for your vehicles, keep yourselves warm that way. There's a lot of ways that you can keep yourselves warm. Blankets, wool, furs, throws, all those kind of things. Wool, I prefer wool, but also those the fleece blankets are really good. Get a lot of blankets. I mean, think about back in the 1800s. They didn't always have, they had wood stoves and stuff like that, but a lot of times, especially think of natives living in their teepees out on the prairie. Yeah, they'd have fires in them, true, but there's a lot of times where people throughout time have lived and existed and survived through cold winters without a heat source. Maybe not for extended periods of time, maybe it's a temporary type thing, transitory thing for them, but it is a thing and you can get through it. So prepare yourselves because I have a feeling this stuff is coming to the United States next. I really hate to see what's going to happen to Europe. And I feel that that will push, that'll amplify the push for the World War. Because when trouble like that happens, and or, you know, like the stuff we've happened over the last couple of years, economic impacts, all the stuff going on globally. It's going to increase the chances of being pushed towards a war. So keep your head on a swivel, make sure you're doing the things, taking care of your family, and getting ready for this. We don't want it to happen here. Let's save ourselves from what's going to happen to Europe. I love you guys. I want to empower and uplift you guys. Have a wonderful day, and blessings to you and yours.